Marissa George has found a new love. Just days after appearing on the Love is Blind Season 7 reunion alongside her former fiancé, Ramses Prashad, the reality star hard launches a new romance, and they do it all while wearing matching space-themed Halloween costumes. Posting a video to Instagram November 1st, Marissa writes in the caption, "Life has a funny way of surprising you. I never expected to fall in love again, let alone with someone who embraces all my energy and flaws. When we first met, I asked him if I was too much. He looked at me confused and said, 'What do you mean?' I simply replied, 'Never mind.' And from that moment on, I never questioned my energy again." This is Marissa's first relationship since her breakup with Ramses, who called off their engagement right before their wedding day. The exes came face-to-face during the show's reunion on October 30th and gave more insight into their breakup during an exclusive interview with E! News.
I don't want you to think like it's like there's something wrong with you or there's a fault.
There's nothing necessarily wrong with me, Ramses, but it's like, you told me you fell in love with me because of who I am.
Yes.
And like, we get this experience and you just like, well, maybe the energy is too much.
The moment that was most difficult to live through and to watch back was definitely just the breakup between Marissa and I. I, in my hearts of hearts, wanted this to really work. And I think the reason why I even got so far is because my heart really wanted to walk down that aisle and see Marissa coming down that aisle as well. But I had to sort of recognize, just where our fundamental differences were. So it was difficult, yeah. It's difficult to live through that moment and see how heartbroken Marissa was. It's difficult to see and hear, even now, how much that heartbreak has affected her, and hearing like her mom say that, she's not the same person that she was. It's tough.
So prior to tonight, I had thought Ramses made the decision to break up with me that day. Like, he hadn't been thinking about the reasonings. But now, after sitting through the reunion and kind of hearing what he had to say, I do believe that he was stewing on it a little bit longer and just didn't tell me, no matter how many times I asked him, "Are you sure? Do you want to wait out?" So I think he did know at least 5 days, maybe. I
didn't come into this experiment wanting to devastate anyone or break them. I'm a pure empath, and it hurts me to hear that, to this day. And so yeah, it's that moment for sure was just the most difficult, out of anything that we experienced.
Marissa and I are very, very close friends. So when I found out that they had broken up, it was very abrupt. It was very, very shocking.
Seeing a human in that much pain it's terrible. Yeah. I bawled my eyes out watching it.
I got to see them together. They seemed like a really steady, like madly in love couple. So I was very, very shocked by that breakup.
After the breakup, Marissa and I, we did have several conversations. I think I wanted to make a point of it after the breakup that, I wasn't trying to cut her out of my life. I wanted to be available to her, to have the conversations that she needed to have so that she can find closure. I made myself available to her so we can discuss, my decision making and then sort of my reasoning behind my decision. So we did have several conversations throughout the end of that year until ultimately, she felt that she could move on from that situation and that breakup.
Ramses and I did talk after the breakup, and eventually we did have to stop talking because it was just not good for either of us. Prior to the reunion, we were talking pretty frequently, a couple hours a day, just chatting about everything and just being friends. I don't know about now. He won't even look me in the eye, so probably not after this.
I think coming into the reunion today, I wasn't necessarily looking for closure. I think the conversations that I've needed to have with Marissa have been had. I think if anything, I just really wanted to maybe express to the world sort of my decision making, since it didn't really seem too clear in those final episodes, and I just wanted to be clear about where I stood. Yeah, I think that was really my main priority coming into this reunion.
What I learned from Ramses in our relationship, and what I definitely do not want in my next relationship, is a partner who just shuts down emotionally and isn't ready to fully commit and work through the really hard things. I think that's one of the things I took away. Okay, I need a partner who is going to be forward-leaning, anticipate my needs, and can take care of himself. But I also love that Ramses is a compassionate person, and I definitely like want that in my next person as well.
You know, we had pretty great in-depth conversations on a variety of topics, and you only really saw that with our conversation about the military and such, and political and politics, but we had those same type of conversations, that same sort of depth when we talked about any other thing. And so I really wish folks got to see the bond that we created. She didn't get engaged with me because of my star signs. There was an actual bond that we created beyond sort of the superficial stuff. And so I wish we would have seen more of that. I'm not dating anyone currently. I did go out on a few dates this past year, but I think I recognized really quickly that I needed to take a step back. I had dated a ton before coming to this experience, and I kind of told myself if it didn't work out for me, I would probably just take a step back and sort of, collect myself, recenter myself, and figure out, I think maybe just focus on sort of my platonic relationships and on myself for a little bit. And so, yeah, not currently dating, but always open to finding love for sure.